What's good, football gamers? It's your boy Fan checking in with our first Madden 26 video of the year. And just like I did for the college football news, I've compiled it all for you here today to point out some of the things I think we should be most excited for and speak on a couple points of healthy and fair skepticism. We'll take a look at the trailer first, and then I'll call out some of the can't miss details of the longer written post. If you want to watch the video with sound and or without me yapping over it, or read the entirety of the post, I'll have both of those links for you in the description. Just before we hop into it, I want to give a disclaimer of sorts. Every year in the pre-launch window for Madden and games like it, it seems like in some circles, pessimism becomes trendy. And although some of what I have to say here might not be rainbows and sunshine, I just want to make abundantly clear that I am not indeed one of those types of people. I'm excited for the game. It's early. At this point, there's no reason to think that we won't get a great installment of Madden. And while I've worked with EA before, I don't work for them. You can rent my time, but you can't buy my opinion. So I'm gonna call it like I see it in the meantime, but I am hoping for the very best. So without further ado, the trailer, the notes, and then you don't gotta go home, but you gotta get the heck up out of here. Let's hop into it. So our very first look at anything Madden 26 came just this morning when EA dropped this reveal trailer, really similar to how the college football trailer opened up. Presentation at the forefront of what we're seeing. The lighting is beautiful. There are scenes that we've never seen before. There is no legacy code for Jettas doing the gritty out of the tunnel with this night presentation of the lights in the crowd. There will be much more about this in the gridiron notes. Quarterback animations getting buffed to the tune of 500 or more. I think the physics-based tackling takes another step forward. They talk a lot about speed has always been king. They mentioned different players' locomotion. For example, Jahmyr Gibbs, fast straight line, sure, but more east to west, more sticky is going to be important this year. And a big segment here, a little surprising to me, but I am excited. Weather coming into play. Madden OGs know weather generally just means maybe you're going to miss a couple more throws, you're going to fumble more often for certain, but outside of that, not going to impact the experience of the game all too much. I don't think that's going to be the case here with Madden 26. Every time I see this Saquon, I miss him so much. The backwards hurdle. I might have to get it on PC so I could mod the title screen so I don't need to look at my beautiful king in an Eagles jersey as Super Bowl champion. Man, congrats to Saquon. Miss him in New York so bad. There we go. Neighbors, though, can get excited about that. Significant steps forward in presentation. Really a well-done trailer. Does everything it's supposed to do. Gets us hyped. We watched it live on Twitch this morning, twitch.tv/Fendler. If you want to be part of the live reacts or just check in the chat, I'd love to meet you. There's the trailer, but they expand upon it significantly throughout the gridiron notes. I'm going to call out some of the things I noticed the most. So here go the gridiron notes, and honestly, we did not get cheated. There is plenty here, a little bit more even than I expected there to be. They open it up, sharing their excitement, and letting us know that they had their ear to the streets here. A lot of the adjustments that they made and updates we can look forward to were driven by community feedback, and it's something you just love to hear. It seems like they'll follow the same cadence as both games did last year as far as deep dives kind of being staggered by game mode, so they're going to give us little bits of information piece by piece as we get closer to launch, which is August 14th, with the deluxe edition early access coming a few days before that. The real substance of the blog post starts at the top with this information about quarterback DNA. A lot of stuff you love to hear. They want to make it feel like you're playing with these guys, right? Joe Burrow more likely to set his feet. Josh Allen more likely to put his shoulder down. They've put in 500 new quarterback animation, so I think it's fair to expect some more personalized stuff. You wonder if they just got these guys in a mocap studio and let them sling the rock for a few hours, and whatever came out, they uploaded into the game. We can hope for as much, no question. So it's stuff that you like to read. We'll see what it winds up looking like when we see it in action. Also mentioning here in this same blurb, 50 new player traits across numerous positions. So not just quarterback, all backed by real-world NFL tendency data. They mentioned down to what side of the field your quarterback prefers to throw to. So something to be excited about there. A lot of what you like to hear. We'll see what it looks like. They move on then to coach DNA. So we have QB DNA and coach DNA, and they're both looking to do a really similar thing, and that is to just make it feel like you are coaching or playing against these guys. So they're leaning into tendencies. They're leaning again using the phrase real-world data. You got Dan Campbell on a 4th and 3. I promise you that man is going for that football play. And it seems like that's the feeling they wanted to recreate. Make it seem like you are coaching against these personalities. These are real people, and it seems like with an augment to coach suggestions, we are taking a couple steps forward on really a more personalized coaching scale. And hidden in here, and you could miss it if you don't read carefully, the info that there are 1,000 new plays at launch in Madden NFL 26. They got good feedback about where they were at, but they are leaning into some of the new stuff that we're seeing. Following the current trend of motion and shift-based offenses we're seeing from teams like San Fran and Miami. For our defensive playbooks, you'll find exotic blitz pressures, defensive disguises, and the all-new stunts and twists to lock down your opponents. Stunts and twists announced for college football, stunts and twists in Madden 26, and that's not the only overlap that's going to be new in the 26 game cycle as we move on to wear and tear in Madden. If you saw the recap or preview, whatever you want to call it, on college football information we got, it's just the copy paste here for the most part. As it was in the good old days, college football is a testing ground for features that may or may not make Madden, depending on how they go. I think they learned a lot of important information just by user feedback and seeing how the system played out. I mentioned in the college football video, I think it's a bit of realism that's necessary for a game that wants to be simulation. Was it a little bit steep? Maybe. I'm hopeful for some positive tunes, take some steps in the right direction, because it's going to be part of our football gaming experience in both college football and Madden. I'm hopeful. And more stuff you might miss if you don't read carefully. In with wear and tear, they mention new depth chart positions of edge, nose tackle, long snapper, and the versatile gadget position. They mention our guy Travis Hunter, poster boy of 2A play in the NFL. Looks like he's going to have some abilities that'll help him manage wear and tear to make sure he can do that, but you're not going to be able to do it with just anybody, as it should be. And here goes the big ticket item, it seems, early on here in the weather updates and additions. Really, most Madden has always been about just higher fumble chance in the rain and otherwise not really noticing so much whether there is weather or not. I'm leaving it. But in Madden 26, everything's getting tuned up. Visually, it looks beautiful. And from what we saw from the trailer, we are getting a new cache of animations based around slipping and sliding in the snow or the rain and what that would look like. They're making a habit of this, just sneaking in a little bonus bit of information at the kind of the very last minute here. They're adding finer details, making the elements a part of home field, where cold weather teams will not be as impacted when playing in the cold and wet as warm weather teams. But to balance, when playing in extreme heat, those cold weather teams will tire out faster, which is a little detail, I guess, with a big impact for certain, that came straight from NFL players. I love that. It's creative, it's realistic, it's reflective as football as a real game, and I think that's exciting. I mentioned at the top, I had a bit of healthy skepticism, and I'm going to share it here at the weather bit. I worry how much we are going to encounter weather games. As a big ticket back of the box item, one of my chatters on Twitch today, Clive, shout to Clive, mentioned that it also really suits itself well for a reveal trailer because it is beautiful. It's cinematic. It's romantic about football, watching Green Bay, in this case, getting the worst of the business, playing in the snow, and it is all of that. So maybe not to overstate it, there's nothing to be concerned about for certain, but outside of franchise, you just don't run into weather games all that often, and even in franchise, they're few and further between. I'm excited for getting a chance to play in the weather, obviously, and it's less skepticism about what it's actually going to feel like playing in the weather and more just like, well, is this going to only be 10 to 20% 20% of my games at absolute most. But regardless, the thought and care to add a cache of animations specifically tailored for wet or snow is thoughtful, it's attention to detail, and it's something I could get behind even if I only see it in 10% of my games. At the midpoint here, they get into their foundational football information. They say they're not optional, they're essential. So they're doubling down on core principles, give us more depth and control, explosive locomotion, better run and pass blocking, defensive zone coverage. We are going to get custom zones just like we will in college football. Really excited to see what that looks like. Updated physics and new mechanics at the forefront of improvements as they're listening to our feedback. Speed is always king in Madden, and they mention here they don't want it to just be fast players or fast the end. They want the experience of piloting Tyreek Hill to be different than somebody like Jahmyr Gibbs. Fast in a straight line and fast laterally are going to feel and look much different, and they want to create that in Madden 26 faithfully. They talk about custom zones here. I think probably one of the most anticipated features from the competitive community particularly, but you'll be able to set the depth of your zone defenders at the line of scrimmage to take away that pesky corner rat from your opponent. If you want your safeties to align to a certain hash, passing strength, or elsewhere, AI logic, custom zones, and more deliver an overhaul to defensive coverage in Madden NFL 26. And they have a deep dive as they do on the other game modes yet to come. The franchise mode section was fairly girthy. They talk about adding some coach customization options right off top, adding hundreds of new heads from what they're saying, and tons of new gear. Really was in need of an update. I was getting sick of picking the same quarter zip or polo, so I'm looking forward to seeing what those look like. They also talk about a new meta game with coach abilities in Madden 26. You can now check out the scouting report and customize your game plan against your opponent each week. Obviously, it's going to kind of remain to be seen what they mean by that. I know my experience with franchise in the past is, statistically, the game plan stuff was pretty much always broken, unfortunately. And it became just, if I wanted to run outside, I had to give up inside run. It didn't feel like it was helping me at any point. Kind of just another thing you had to click through week to week in franchise. They talk about giving this a facelift, and also that some of these scenarios can trigger in-game for you, like increasing your offensive tackle success against power moves so you can see it tangibly. They're also giving us play sheets. Play sheets are another component of your weekly game planning, allowing you to add extra plays to your playbook. The play sheets you'll be able to access depends on how you level up your coach. Managing wear and tear is going to be a big piece. And pretty excited for this halftime shows and recaps with Scott Hansen. I was talking with my man Up and Adam in the chat on Twitch earlier this morning. He's talking about even in user games getting highlights from other games across the league. I think the presentation, both from the pregame and now apparently at halftime, is going to take multiple steps forward. And as always, they'll have a deep dive for us later. They move on to talk about presentation, and that was at the forefront in the reveal trailer, but they want to add some authenticity and team-specific action like runouts, crowd chants, mascots, and pregame traditions like Minnesota's Skull Chant or Baltimore's Light Show. They talk again about how they've updated the head coach look, added more gear to make it look more realistic. As far as uniforms, they've added alternate and classic jerseys from Nike, including the Texans redesign. Very cool. And they mention here that if the Bengals are on a whiteout game or the Bucks are in creamsicles, something like this, they can actually change the logo at midfield to reflect the special occasion. Immersion, realism, love to see it. Superstar exciting again as it was last year, as it's a continuation of your road to glory. You can export your Heisman winner right over into the NFL, see where you get drafted. So Superstar getting a second look, and they're giving it some love here. They're giving us every week fresh story of the week narratives that pull you deeper into the heart of the game. Career chapters, which sound kind of familiar, kind of back up to starter to all the way through legend and such. And a pretty cool teaser here on their immersive sphere of influence system, because who you know off the field can be just as important as what you do on it. Stay in shape by balance and wear and tear, push your limits in intense Superstar live events, and sharpen your skills to climb all the way to a 99 overall. And just at the end here, they note for players who love Superstar Showdown, expect bigger and better live events throughout the year, including the return of online head-to-head mini-games. More on that in Superstar Deep Dive. We're trying it again, man. I'm open-minded. Let's see what it looks like. And Ultimate Team. For college football, the blog post, they gave us 3 sentences about Ultimate Team. Yeah, we're doing it again. It's going to be great. Stay tuned. For Madden, They address specifically that they've heard the feedback from our solo player and excited to share that Madden NFL 26 Ultimate Team is giving solo play the overhaul it deserves. Rebuilt solo reward structure from the ground up with a focus on progression, pacing, and rewards. We're also introducing solo champions, a new choose your difficulty mode to showcase your solo prowess. I've been hollering from the mountaintops that if Madden, even if it was 1-for-1, but if they took some inspiration for an offline experience like MLB The Show, I know a lot of you sports gamers know what that's like, grindable rewards, a progression system, you feel like you're not wasting your time, and there are things to do, a lot to do, almost too much to do, and that's not an experience I think that the offline MUT players had over the last few years. They are taking care in the first information that we're getting to let us know that there is going to be stuff to do for the solo offline player. That's really exciting to me. I've been enjoying other type of game modes rather than MUT, but my love for Madden, really when I first started broadcasting anything was in Madden 20. My channel started as a MUT channel. That's always going to be home for me, and I'm really hopeful that this can be a step toward greatness for MUT again. While they're in here, they mentioned leaderboard campaigns for both online and solo players. These are smaller leaderboard, limited time, focused competitions with reworked placement design where every game matters. In my imagination, if any of y'all play any of these dog mobile games where every once in a while they'll put you in a pool of 10 people, and if you spend the most energy and points and stuff, you get the reward, and they just kind of randomly group you up. In my imagination, maybe something that looks like that, just kind of a segment of X players based on your level or playstyle or whatever the heck they're grouping us by. Smaller leaderboard, accessible rewards, the more to do, the better. I'm with it. We'll see what it looks like. And they wrap it up mentioning to make the mode simpler, new pack helper brings critical decision-making info directly to your pack openings, able to see if a new player is better than their current starter. Compare has been around for a while. It's all right. See auction house information, also not brand new, but it's okay. Know if they help you complete a set and see chemistry tier impacts all without leaving the pack opening screen. It sounds like the UI is going to get touched up a little bit, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what it looks like. And that wraps up the gridiron notes from our first information about Madden 26 out August 14th. So there you have it, football gamers. Everything I notice and everything there is to know about Madden NFL 26 at this early juncture comes out August 14th, early access a few days before that. I'll make sure to keep y'all up to date on anything I hear and anything I learn about the game as we get a little bit closer. I've been Fend. Y'all have been great. Thanks for watching, and catch you next time. Peace.